It's about fellowship with God. To believers. It's not about salvation. So all those people thinking 1 John 1:9 isn't for believers, they can't read their Bible. They're carnal. That's why. Because it's an epistle about fellowship, abiding in Him. Okay? It is not a verb about prayer. And you'll notice that when he does talk about prayer, he's talking about it officially, and you're asking God. God is the shorthand word for God the Father. Okay, then you got another key word, which is kaleo, K-A-L-E-O, and it looks like a W in Greek, in English. That's an election word. That's why it's used. God calls you, so you call Him. That's not a prayer word. It's about your status. It's about your identity. Epikaleo is a version of that, because you're calling upon. You're calling upon God because you believe. See, it's after you believe that you can call. That was Paul's point in Romans 10. Alright? And he was actually quoting a verse in the Old Testament about believers calling on God in time of disaster so they can be saved from the disaster. And that's the parallel he's drawing in Romans 10, which I covered in my gospel videos on Romans 10. So you've got to be careful of your verbs. Don't make the Bible believer blooper mistake of not reading the Bible in context and not reading enough Bible. Aiteo is a verb for to pray. Okay, and Christ used that verb every single time. Listen to what He told you. He's your Lord and Master. He's your husband. Alright? Epikaleo and kaleo and, talking to God and fellowship. There are other verbs that are used for that. And when John 1:9 is on fellowship, alright, it's not about prayer. But you can call it prayer the way David did it, because David was always talking to Father and Son and Spirit. Okay? But when he prays officially, like in Psalm 66:18, he was out of fellowship. He admitted it. That's using our equivalent of 1 John 1:9. He says, don't take your Holy Spirit from me. Well, he's not talking to the Holy Spirit. He's talking to the Father. And when he says in Psalm 110, the Lord said to my Lord, obviously they're two different persons. Alright, so David was talking to God all the time. Psalm 139, which I'll cover when I get to my pro-life blasphemy, that section in the pro-life blasphemy videos. David's saying, oh, how precious are your thoughts. That's in verse 17. In verse 16, he's saying, I didn't even exist. I was a golem. That's the word for fetus. I was dead. The only place I existed was in your mind, God. And now I'm existing outside the womb, so I can see your thoughts. That whole chapter is mistranslated. Alright? He's talking to God, but he's not praying. He's talking. His conversation, hi, Dad. I talk to God all day long, don't you? And if you don't, you better start. Talk to Dad, talk to Mom. I call the Holy Spirit Mom because the Holy Spirit makes himself into a mother hen, Genesis 1:2. The Hebrew verb is rahaf. It means he broods like a mother hen over the chicks. He's brooding over the waters of the earth that had been trashed by Satan and company. Alright? And then you have the Son who created the universe in Genesis 1:1. That's what Christ says in the New Testament. I will do what you ask, and it means, Father, in my name. So if you're not asking Father, you're not going to get your prayer heard. Sorry. Alright? But the rest of the time, talk to the Lord, talk to, Stephen did in Acts 7:59. Oh, Lord, receive my spirit. And he was talking to Christ there. Yeah, but he's talking to him. He's not praying. He's talking to him. Okay, a prayer has a protocol. You ask Father in Son's name for whatever your request. You see Paul using it in Ephesians 1:15 through 23. That's an unfinished prayer. And you see him use a finished prayer in Ephesians 3:15 through 19.
Pra encontrar alguém como você, mas nem sempre a vida é fácil com a gente. Às vezes precisa lutar. Toda minha vida rezei pra achar alguém como você. Demorou, mas eu te encontrei finalmente, pronto pra me entregar. Teu beijo é mais lindo que o mar e o céu. Teu beijo é mais doce que o mel. Te abraço e o tempo parece voar. Teu beijo tem gosto de amor. Me beije, por favor.
He's talking to Father, and he says so, because that was an official prayer. That wasn't his daily conversation with God. So know the difference. You are a royal family of God. You have an office. When you exercise that office as prayer, you talk to Father in Son's name, and you make your requests known, your petitions for whatever. Okay? It's very official, and it's very important. It's training in rulership. And whatever you ask, you're going to get. I mean, unless you ask stupidly. That's what James 3 was about. James 3 and 4. But the rest of the time, talk to any of them. Okay? They all live. And of course, if you're not Trinitarian, nothing you say is ever going to get heard.
Por tanto tempo esperei pra encontrar alguém como você, mas nem sempre a vida é fácil com a gente. Às vezes precisa lutar. Toda minha vida rezei pra achar alguém como você. Demorou, mas eu te encontrei finalmente, pronto pra me entregar. Teu beijo é mais lindo que o mar e o céu. Teu beijo é mais doce que o mel. Te abraço e o tempo parece voar. Teu beijo tem gosto de amor. Me beije,